All right, guys, I'm back for part two. So, again, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Neither that this is financial advice. The reason why I mention this in every video is because we always have newer viewers and newer people, and I know it gets annoying. It's annoying for me to say it, but you got to protect yourself, guys, out there and out here. So, where did we leave off? Skills, interesting play. It's very interesting to look at. I'm not obviously I will never tell you you should buy into something or you shouldn't buy into something, but it's an interesting play that I'm looking at now, because even the great Kathy Woods had already exited that position. But again, when that happens, that means eventually, the company is just not going to go to zero unless there's something of bankruptcy talks or whatnot and all that. And as far as looking at the quarterly earnings and things like that, that company doesn't look like it's heading in that direction. And for it being anywhere around that $1 to $2 range, that's mind-boggling. It's crazy. Now, here's the thing. Here's why it's an interesting play, because the potential is there of the company and the technology. The thing is, the market that we're heading into might not really fully be supportive of that. So if I was to load up into this, I would go slowly just to confirm the theses on how, kind of seeing, because there's two things that could happen here in this play. And the one thing that could happen is, one, it could jump right back up, because it's very lucrative price, whether it's for stock or option plays or whatnot. But there's two things, like I said, that could happen here. It's either gonna go right back up gradually, which could take a lot of time. If that's the case here, then you're talking about at least until third quarter of 2022 before you can see this company back on its feet. End of second quarter, probably to mid third quarter. You have that time to wait. If that's the case, then easy for you. There you go. If not, then what could happen is it could instantly rise right back up on some crazy news that comes normally right after the rise, and all it was is just a potential play for them to, when it dumped down, they shorted it, and now they could ride it back up on option calls. So it's or even without even taking the risk, they could just buy stock into it because they know a lot of people dumped, and that way they could hold more stake in that stock, and it kind of becomes more like a slave to them of a company, similar to one I was going to talk about here. Like Fiven, FIVN. It's an interesting company because it's at a low today of 87 in the aftermarket. This thing dropped down like a good amount. It was like around 25%, and that's a lot because the company, like looking at where the stock is sitting. But what's really interesting about this play is that institutions own 98% of company shares. Out crazy. Like basically this company it's a cloud network company, and that company is literally controlled by the institutions. That's who's the real boss and the owners. I mean, even the insiders barely have any shares in it. It's less than 1%. 98%. Good luck being the president of that company or the CEO of that company. Oof. Even if you try to install a doorknob, you're gonna have to take permission and call a board meeting. So what else did we want to talk about? Another sad reality of showing how institutes have that predatory instincts on shorting is like a perfect example. Go on your app and look at the Kodiak Sciences, KOD. And you would see it's probably on the top list of the drops. It dropped like 80, 90%. And the crazy story with this, if you were following this stock about 2 days ago, it literally, like the day before yesterday. No, why day before yesterday? It was yesterday. It was exactly yesterday. Sorry, when you're looking at so many plays, like so many things go, time goes into time when you're telling the story after. So you have literally like the stock, like at one point in the pre-market, comes out with an article in the news that, oh my God, it meant it was like safe. Patients saw a lot of good gains. It was safe. And I remember reading it, and it started pumping. The crazy thing, it wasn't even like 4 hours later. Still, like as soon as the pre-market, was it the pre-market or the aftermarket? All this happened in. I think all this happened in the. Yeah, I think all this happened in the pre-market. It was so crazy. 4 hours later, they come out with another article bashing the first one, saying that it didn't meet its efficacy point, and therefore that end point. So therefore, it just started plummeting, and now we're here, 80, 90% down. With the company being 98% institutionally owned, that's five. And when you see this one, it's not the same, but it's a pharmaceutical company. And sadly for them, when you report something like this, and that was their main drug too that they were reporting, they just literally hit you with the curveball, whether the news was correct or not. And this is a practice that happens in the market that is really sad, and it is a very predatory like system that institutions abuse and use to short stocks and companies. And when you see that, now you see that company is doomed for a good amount of time from investors, because now their leading drug is hit. It's a bust. It's not a hit. And now, even if they were working on different drugs, the investor faith system, or like the faith in that company, have dropped tremendously after that. And literally all this has on it is institution profits and trying to short a stock down. So that's sad. Now, what else are we looking at in the market, guys? What am I looking at? I'm looking at like others like Coke down 23%. Looks like they're already buying the dip on that because it's in the aftermarket now. It's up 4%. I wouldn't really go too crazy, but the crazy part about this is what else was down? Monday.com was also down, and that's a company. It's not a very known company like Coke, obviously, but it's also a big stock. It's in the obviously hundreds. So dropping like this, and you have a few other plays like Beachbody, BODY. That's also dropping. These companies are dropping. There's two things, guys, that I'm looking at here. Big companies losing slowly and slowly. The way that those companies are losing value, and it's every week it's a different batch. I feel like this is the market correction happening in this way. That's one theory. The second theory is that these guys, and I'm leaning toward this second theory, these guys are really, really, really hurting for liquidity and money. And they can't crash the market full at once, because a lot of people got this misconception about the squeeze. That means that when the market corrects itself, everything will drop like crazy, like plummets, all the companies all at once, and that way we force the squeeze. Well, that's one thing that whether the government or the institutions are for sure trying to prevent from happening. Now, it could happen. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, guys, but that's a big misconception that, you can't just put all your odds on hoping or thinking that that's the way it's going to go down. In fact, this is what it's looking like they're doing, because they're hurting so much for liquidity, guys. It's unbelievably crazy how it's written all over it. Liquidity is all their problem, so therefore they're dumping and pumping stocks left and right. And what's easier than getting money? They're hurting for money. You see it. They will pump the cryptos and dump them back down. And lately it's been even more, more and more thirsty in a way. That's what they call them. Like, you're thirsty. They're pumping the stock or the crypto. They used to before pump it like, back to the 50s. Oh, Bitcoin breaks 50 again. Well, lately for the last month and a half, it's been pumping back up, but at the best that it can go was like 8%, 6-7% at best, and that was like crazy. Like, it barely breaking the 40 to 41,000, and then dumps right back down to the $36,000-$35,000 range. It's because basically they're just using that money, dumping, pumping, taking money out, and trying to patch all over the market. Like, they're literally doing patching job. I called that out yesterday in my video, yesterday's video, left and right. So I'm not gonna say good luck to them, because obviously that's who's on the opposite end of me. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I could be spraying BS left and right. But one thing, like I said, I'm telling you guys, if you're looking at this market and you've been you look at patterns in the market yourself for many years before, you would know that they are working really, really, really hard, like really hard on patching their walls left and right, because eventually that great wall of Wall Street, it's breaking down, guys. It's breaking down. There's nothing you can do to keep patching a wall and not fix it right correctly from the bottom up. So the only way to fix this is to take it down and then push it back up. With that being said, guys, now we can go back and look at like our AMC plays, our bbig plays, and all that. When you see these plays, what they're doing to them, this is kind of like a decoy. What they're doing on what you see today, like that price action, was a decoy, because one thing we know is that all the stocks have been purchased. They're not shorting a real stock. They're not pumping a real stock. Again, they have to make it correlate with the market so that it can seem like or look like everything is safe. Like, it's nothing different. Like, oh, they're all going down, so why not these ones? They're going down. But if you look at it, again, like, Coke is a much more fundamental company fundamentally than any of our meme stock plays. And guess what? It dropped 24%. What did AMC drop? 5%? 3? Anywhere between 3 to 5, 6%. GameStop 1-2%. That's why this is the point that I'm making to you, is that this is looking like, when they say the narrative is the market is red, all the market is red. So that makes it look like nothing, no foul doing is happening. But in reality, the crime is right in plain sight. It's not hidden. It's just masked by the price action. So much love, guys. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already yet. And if you like the videos, please like it, because that moves it more and more in the algorithms to get it out to more and more people.